Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are still outside the hall, please make your way inside the hall and be seated. If you're hearing my voice and you're still outside the hall, please make your way inside the hall and find your seat. Locates their seat and the Avengers theme song ends, you immediately observe. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please ask everyone in this room to please stand on your feet as the minister walks in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are hearing me, please stand on your feet right now as the minister and her entourage are walking in. Ladies and gentlemen, would like to open with observing protocols. The Rich School Orchestra has been leading the national anthem, followed immediately by the African Union anthem, led by Ratsepo Secondary School. Immediately thereafter, Junior Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Junior Councillor Malekane, will lead the recital of the preamble of the Constitution. On your tables, I'm sure you've already seen, you have these national identity passports of patriotism. The preamble of the Constitution is located on page 3. You will find it there. The national anthem is on page 6. The African Union anthem on page 21. Now, this is very, very important. Please listen carefully. When singing the anthem, we will request that there be complete order. No chatting, no walking around. I'll say this again. No chatting, no walking around. Members of the media and photographers, you are exempted because you obviously need to take content as things unfold. Everybody needs to assume attention posture, which means hands on the sides. Men should remove your hats and caps. Those of you who are wearing hats, let's do that right now. We can begin with the anthems.
All unite and sing together to uphold the bonds that frame our destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice on earth. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky. Let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind and fond of culture, our pride and hope at break of dawn.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated and would like to begin with our salutations. And yes, we'll get to that. Our salutations this morning, would like to acknowledge Minister of the Department of Basic Education, Ms. Siviwe Kwarube. Deputy Minister of Basic Education, Dr. Regina Mahaule. Deputy Minister of Social Development, Mr. Hanif Hendricks. MEC for Education and Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation in Gauteng, Mr. Matume Chilwane. The Director General in the Department of Basic Education, Mr. Matanzima Mueli. The Deputy Director General for Sector Care and Support Services, Dr. Granville Whittle. Representatives of partners of the department, esteemed guests, officials, teachers, parents, stakeholders, learners, ladies and gentlemen, and friends, distinguished speakers, and most importantly, the young men who are at the heart of our gathering this morning. I'd like to now call onto the podium for the recital of the preamble of the Constitution, Junior Councillor Kamohelo Malekane, who is the Junior Mayor of the city of Johannesburg. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Please may we all stand and repeat after me. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person, and build a united and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Nkosi sikeleli Afrika. Morena boloka setjhaba sa heso. God seën South Africa. God bless South Africa. Modzimu fatuchetsa Afrika. Hosi katekisa Afrika.
Thank you so much, Junior Councillor. Let's give him a big round of applause. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense pleasure and a deep sense of purpose that I stand before you this morning as your program director for the significant observance of the International Day of the Boy Child. My name is William, last name Lahong. Now, as we convene here at the Tabatwane City Hall in Centurion today, we are united by a shared commitment to a theme that resonates deeply within our society, the theme being boys' health and well-being. Today's event is hosted through the collaborative efforts of the Department of Basic Education and its partners, UNESCO, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, the German Development Agency, GIZ, or GIZ, the SABC Education, the Baituti Mampane Foundation, the Youth Start Foundation, and Prime Stars. Now, this day marks a crucial moment to reflect on, discuss, and champion the holistic development of our boys. Their health and well-being, encompassing their physical, mental, emotional, and social states, are not merely individual concerns. They are, in fact, the bedrock upon which a thriving future for South Africa is built. I'd like to call upon the podium now for opening remarks Dr. Regina Mhaule, who is the Deputy Minister of Basic Education. Let's give her a big round of applause. It can't get louder than that. Come on. Louder. There we go. Thank you very much. Keep it going, keep it going.
Thank you so much, Program Director. Greetings to the Minister of Basic Education, Honorable Kwahube. Greetings to the Deputy Minister, where is he? Oh, of Social Development. Deputy Minister, thank you very much for coming. And with your presence, we feel embraced and we feel complete. Greetings in absentia to the MEC for Education, or Education for Culture, Sports and Recreation in Gauteng, who is also MEC for Education. He has attended to an urgent matter, but he will be joining us. Greetings to the Assistant Director General for Education and other UNESCO representatives joining us virtually. We are not the only ones that are in this meeting. The Director General for the Department of Basic Education, Mr. Matanzi Mamweli, the Deputy Director General for Sector Care and Support Services, Dr. Granville, distinguished guests, or DDG Geya, also in our midst, all officials of the department and other departments that are present today here. You are all very important. Distinguished guests from our neighboring SADC countries, Lesotho, Malawi, and Namibia. Our esteemed legends and youngest joining us today, principals and educators, most importantly, the young men and the boys present here today, and those joining virtually from the Western Cape at the Desmond Tutu Foundation and elsewhere in the country and our nation. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Sanbonan. Sanbonan. It is with great pride and profound sense of purpose that I stand before you today to officially open this inaugural commemoration of the International Day of the Boy Child under the theme, Boys' Health and Well-Being. Thank you for that. And we don't take it, we are not welcomed because the mayor of the precinct, minister, has welcomed us, the mayor of the precinct, and the mayor of the city of Johannesburg also welcomed us, and we really appreciate. So the MEC was to also welcome us in the space of Greater Gauteng, but unfortunately he will just give a message of support. This day, Minister, marks an important milestone in our collective journey towards the gender equity, one that recognizes that all children, regardless of gender, deserve attention, care and support tailored to their unique circumstances and challenges. I want to begin by acknowledging that this commemoration does not compete with or diminish the importance of the International Day of the Girl Child. Rather, it complements it. Our commitment to addressing the specific challenges faced by girls remain unwavering. What we are recognizing today is that a holistic approach to gender equity requires us to support all our children in navigating the complex pathway to childhood. The challenges girls experience are the same challenges the boy child experiences. So we need to take them alike and not discriminate between girls and boys. Because as we continue to supporting girls, it looks like we are leaving behind the boy child. And when they engage in social ills, we are surprised as if what happened because we did not take care of the boy child. The seeds for today's gathering were planted at the International Day of the Girl Child commemoration in 2024, where our Director General, Mr. Matanzi Mamueli, and the DBSA, I didn't greet DBSA in our present. CEO, greetings to you. When the DBSA Executive, Mr. Cheni Rampele, agreed on the importance of balancing messaging and support for gender matters in education. This agreement reflected a growing recognition across SADC member states of the urgent need to engage boys and young men in gender equality efforts while addressing their unique developmental needs. While the International Day of the Boy Child is not yet ratified by the United Nations, it has been commemorated globally since 2018 by the different sectors of society. Today, South Africa's Department of Basic Education is proud to lead our government in officially recognizing this day, and we hope that our colleagues in UNESCO will support us in making submission to the United Nations for this day to be recognized officially by the United Nations as International Day, especially given the global report that was recently released by UNESCO regarding the disengagement of boys in education. Ladies and gentlemen, we must confront an uncomfortable truth that many of our boys are in crisis. The evidence is clear concerning recent comprehensive studies, including our own South African systemic evaluation and the 5th Southern and Eastern Africa Consortium for Monitoring Educational Quality reveal a troubling patterns of educational underperformance among boy children. This gender gap spans all grades, subjects, geographic regions, and socioeconomic levels. In reading literacy, we see a significant 20% point difference between boys and girls at the emerging level in grade 3. Boys consistently demonstrate lower health and knowledge than girls across all contexts. Those who experience frequent corporal punishment show higher rates of aggression, antisocial behavior, and academic difficulties. Beyond academics, our baseline evaluation studies from the DAF Self-Esteem Project revealed that 75% of adolescent boys report body image concerns, yet typically lack the vocabulary to express these feelings. The SADC study on the vulnerability of boys, launched right here in South Africa at the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation in 2017, highlighted the urgent need for improved sexual and reproductive health support for boys. Perhaps most disturbingly, over 50%, Minister, of boys in sub-Saharan Africa suffer physical abuse from relatives, partners, or authority figures during childhood, yet their pain often remain invisible, acknowledged and unaddressed. And in our culture, we say, "Indoda kayikhali." When the boy cries, no, umfana akakhali, don't cry. And they keep these things inside them and they erupt into something else that we least expect. What lies at the heart of these challenges, which I believe is a significant factor, is the rigid masculinity norms that our society imposes on boys from their earliest years. We condition boys to suppress emotions, particularly vulnerability, through family dynamics, education, peer pressure, and media. We tell them to map up, not to equate emotions with weakness, to prioritize toughness and dominance, and to suppress all feelings. Minister and distinguished guests, we must acknowledge a fundamental truth. Early childhood experiences shape boys' development in profound ways. Without healing, opportunities, and empowerment, boys cannot become the men they are capable of being. Men who respect themselves and respect others also, who embrace healthy expression of masculinity. Schools play a crucial role by providing knowledge about gender stereotypes, healthy relationships, and etc. So, Minister, with these words, I know that I've spoken like I'm giving a keynote address, but it's an opening address. Minister will give the keynote address. As we officially launch the commemoration of the International Day of the Boy Child in South Africa, let us commit to making every day a day where all our children feel seen, feel supported, and feel valued. Therefore, this commemorative event is now officially opened. All speakers are free to support, and the minister will give a keynote address. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Minister. For the sake of time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep things moving. I'd like to call upon our next speaker to the podium, the Deputy Minister of the Department of Social Development, Mr. Hanif Hendricks. Let's give him a big round of applause as he makes his way on to the podium. Let's keep it going, keep it going. Thank you.
Program Director, Minister of Basic Education, Deputy Minister, senior officials of government departments, distinguished guests, and boys. Madam Minister Kwarupu, let me officially tender the apology of my Minister Sisi Tolashi. This week we have been hosting the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General on violence against children, and that includes violence against boys. Dr. Najat, today is the last day, and she's giving a final report. So I'm honored to stand in for the Minister and be part of the celebration of the boy child. I'm also the patron of the Men's Parliament under the leadership of the Deputy President, and he was very impressed that I introduced for the first time the concept of a boys' parliament. And we had two young boys who made presentations and spoke on behalf of boys. I am very concerned that 27% of our boys are stunted. And that's why the Department of Social Development is paying special attention to the nutritional needs of young boys. And in the policy document for social development, we have proposed to the Cabinet that we must even look after boys while they are in the mother's womb, so that we can reverse the tragedy of stunting in South Africa. It cannot be that 27% of our boys are stunted. So when boys are born and they are in need, we provide them with a child support grant until they reach the age of 18 years, and that is for their nutritional needs. Other sectors of society provide other needs. So we look after the boys beyond 18 years old when they go to university and technical colleges, and those who are on social grants automatically get the NSFAS bursary. They don't have to apply. Once they accept it, the money is in the bank to pay for their years at university and at college. But my concern are the boys that don't make it to university and don't make it to college. And that's why the Department of Social Development, we have about 8 programs to assist young boys. And we have seen that all over the country, there are efforts to do something about supporting young boys. Everyone wants to help young boys because they are our future, they are our champions. So I would like to invite all of you who are involved in one way or another to help our young boys to get to know about the programs of social development. The Department of Social Development runs the following programs that relate to the Family Matters program, and government has delegated Family Matters to the Deputy Minister of Social Development, which is me. So my name is in the box. And I've got to make sure that those 8 programs reach those who are involved in doing so much good for young boys. A program that is part of the 8 Compendium of Social and Behavioral Change program. The first one is Boys Championing Change. So please get to know about that program. Then there is Men Championing Change. And you will like this one. You only live once. YOLO, James Bond. Then we have a program called Chommy, Be My Chommy. And those of us who were born in the 60s, you like this program when you were boys. Rock Leadership Program. That program rocks. Introduce that program to the boys. We also have community capacity enhancement methodology, KEMOJA, social behavioral change program that mainly responds to the scourge of HIV and AIDS and other social ills confronting the family and communities. The Department of Social Development, we are in full support of this program you are running today. We need to collaborate on some of these programs that have common goals so that we don't work in silos when we want to achieve the same goal. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deputy Minister Genief Hendricks. You heard it, young boys in the room today. You only live once, YOLO, one of the programs that the Social Development Department is championing for you. Do ensure that you get in touch with them and see how you can tell other boys like yourselves to be a part of that movement as well. I'd like to call on next to the podium Mr. Chwene Rampele, who is the Group Executive for the Development Bank of Southern Africa. Let's give him a big round of applause, please. Louder!
I nearly said ni hang to the black Chinese. For those that don't know him. Program Director, let me thank you for the opportunity. Deputy Minister, always pleasure to be in your presence. Minister Kwarube, always pleasure to be in your presence, and Deputy Minister. Again, let me also extend my appreciation or recognition to the Deputy Minister of Social Development. And I also would want to then extend our greetings to the partners. And let me also lastly say to the boys, we salute you. And ladies and gentlemen, to the legends, which is the youngest and the boys in the room and throughout South Africa, we salute you in the name of DBE, DBSA partnership. We are joining this celebration in your honor and recognition of the boy child, and again keeping in mind the girl child. The International Day of the Boy Child is a reminder that our boys also need guidance. We recognize that they need compassion. We recognize that they need strong role models. And in a world that often pressures them to be tough, we want them to know that they can also be kind, thoughtful, and emotionally strong. Again, Minister, this morning at our DBSA, we hosted, through our CEO, Ms. Witumelo Musako, we hosted the boys and their families. We asked the staff members to bring their boy children to work so that we can really then be in a position to have this kind of conversations with them. And that was just a demonstration from our side that it starts from home. So at DBSA, we understand that our impact begins at home with our own families. And that's where the boys are being bred. Again, in terms of the partnership with DBE, DBSA and DBE has a long-standing relationship that is focusing on infrastructure development. DBSA is more of an infrastructure development bank, financing infrastructure, building roads, building schools, building hospitals, financing all of that. And we have identified opportunities for sustainable, inclusive, and equitable-oriented collaboration that is anchored on DBE's strategic priorities such as early childhood, water and sanitation, etc. Last year in October, Minister, we partnered and hosted the DBE in celebration of International Day of a Girl Child in the DBSA. We repeat to support the event today as referred to as an International Day of Boy Child. We confirm our further support to G20 Learners Engagement Program. There is a care and support for teaching and learning conference that we also pledging to support. And the school furniture optimization program that basically we are really also supporting in terms of and we're starting there in Khatsibande district in Mpumalanga. Just making sure that, the school furniture is also conducive. Much as we're concentrating on the structures, but also we believe that, sitting on a proper, desk is also very important. So to the boys, our message goes that I would like to leave you with the understanding that the world is a shared space and our actions can impact the experience of those around us. Therefore, you have to display a deep respect for others. And I think that is the basis, and that's where it starts. We expect a sense of responsibility from you as boys. Believe in yourselves. Never think of yourself as failing. Again, never doubt the reality of your mental image or build up obstacles in your imagination. Rest assured, we as elders and parents and uncles and all of that, we believe in you and we are hard at work to pave the road for your development. God bless the boys, South Africa and the world. Ke a leboha.
Re a leboga, Ntate Ramphele. Up next is a video message from the UNESCO headquarters, Ms. Stefania Giannini, who is the Assistant Director General for Education, has something to say to you, a young boy sitting in this room. 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 Young boy sitting.
Supporting boys in education is not a zero-sum game. It benefits girls, boys, and society as a whole when we leave no one behind. Read the report now. Read the report now. Read the report now. Read the report now. Read the report now.
Excellencies, young people, ladies and gentlemen, today is a clear reminder that every child deserves the chance to thrive in education. UNESCO's global report, Leave No Child Behind, based on data from over 140 countries, shed light on boys' disengagement from education. Its findings were sobering. Today, 129 million boys are out of school globally. Boys are more likely to repeat grades and fall behind in reading, with South Africa showing some of the widest gender gaps. The reasons are complex, we all know. Multiple factors are at play: social, economic, personal factors. Boys face pressure to earn money and conform to harmful notions of masculinity. Others are pushed out by corporal punishment, bullying, or the feeling that school is not a place for them. We know now that failing to support the boys in education comes at a high cost to their futures and to all of us. In the Prize of Action, a recent publication by UNESCO, OECD, and the Commonwealth Secretariat, we estimate that the annual cost of boys not achieving basic skills is 11% of GDP. And the consequences go beyond economics, of course. Educated boys are more likely to support gender equality, reject violence, and lead healthier and more inclusive lives. Promising initiatives are emerging, luckily. The Lifting Barriers project in Malawi and Lesotho, just to quote an example, launched in April 2024 by UNESCO, Equimundo, and the University of East Anglia, examines how masculine norms affect boys' learning and how to foster healthy masculinities in and through education. Well, let me be very clear. Supporting boys doesn't mean taking away from girls. It's about ensuring that every child can learn, grow, and contribute. I commend South Africa for its leadership in championing boys' education. And to the young men here, let me say, your education matters. You deserve to feel safe and supported. And to the leaders here, let's rise to this challenge together. Because when you support our boys, we build safer communities and more equal world for everyone.
A big thank you to Ms. Stefania Giannini, who is the Assistant Director General Education from UNESCO headquarters, giving you, the young boy in this room, a message of support. And I hope you were listening as she just emphasized the fact that supporting you as a young boy in this room today keynote address from the Minister of Basic Education, Ms. Siviwe Gwahube. And then we will have the CT Amen performance from the Rich School. That will be followed by a very important panel discussion, which will be chaired and facilitated by Dr. Remy Shower. Who is the Genre Manager for Education and Children Video Entertainment for Local Productions at the South African Broadcasting Corporation, that is the SABC. Seated next to her will be Ms. Joan Mwekezi, who is the Program Manager for AV in GIZ. Mr. Refilwe Mohale will also join them, who is the General Manager at the Youth Start Foundation, also my boss there at Proud Stars. Joining them as well, rounding off that panel, will be Junior Councillor Kamohelo Malekane, who is the Junior Mayor in the city of Johannesburg. Are the boys ready? Let's keep those applause going, ladies and gentlemen. Phenomenal talent that we've just witnessed live here at the Tshwane Thaba Hall. The song, in case you were wondering what the song is talking about, the boys who were responding to the young lady are saying enough is enough. And in her solo performance, she was explaining that we as women, we as young girls, are tired now of being raped, of being killed, of being abused at the hands of you, the man, who is going to be a man in the future because you're still a young boy sitting here in the room today. So in response, the boys are saying, enough is enough because you gave birth to us. We are here and we wouldn't be here without you, the woman. So absolutely recognizing that. That's what the song is talking about. And I think it's a phenomenal message that we need to recognize this morning and give it a big round of applause again. We're going to move swiftly along with our program this morning for the sake of time. I know the minister has to travel a little later. We're going to call on to the podium next Dr. Regina Mahaule, who is the Deputy Minister of Basic Education, and she's coming up here to invite the minister to the podium. Let's give her a big round of applause. I mean big, bigger than that, louder. There we go. Keep it going. Keep it going. Thank you.
Good morning again. My task now is very simple. Like I kept on saying to you, I'm not the keynote speaker. The keynote speaker is still coming. Though I spoke like I am the person. So now the person will be coming. He's, I would say, the youngest minister in the cabinet of President Cyril Ramaphosa. She is the amazing young woman who leads from the front, from the back, from the sides, from all over. Her eyes are everywhere within the department. She's dynamic, she's leading the department to the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all of us to stand up. To stand up as we welcome the one and the only Minister of Basic Education, a daughter, I would say umama, but I'm umama, she's a daughter, Siviwe Kwahube. Let's welcome her as she's coming on stage to give us the line of march Let's do better than that as welcome our minister on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Kwahube.
Thank you very much. I am certainly going to ask the Director General if I can take that gentleman with me everywhere I go, because it is absolutely important to be welcomed so warmly. Thank you very much, sir, for leading the whole in the song. Program Director, to the Deputy Minister of Basic Education, Dr. Mhaule, to the Deputy Minister of Social Development, Deputy Minister Hendricks. I know that the Deputy Minister of Women, Youth and Persons Living with Disabilities, Mapaseka Letsike, will be with us at some point this morning, and the MEC for Education in Gauteng, MEC Chulwane, will also be joining us soon. The Director General in the Department of Education, the DBSA CEO, who's a big supporter of all the work that we do. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. Our guests and who are also on the virtual platform, young men and learners present here today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Today we commemorate the International Day of the Boy Child under the global theme, Boys' Health and Well-Being, highlighting the physical, emotional, mental, and social dimensions of boys' development. Like many other nations, South Africa is waking up to a challenging truth, ladies and gentlemen. In our efforts to address the gender disparities, many of them rightly focusing on the empowerment of girls, we have overlooked and unwittingly left the boy child behind in our classrooms and more broadly in our communities and in society. Recent studies are painting a very troubling picture. In the South African Systemic Evaluation and in the 5th Southern and Eastern African Consortium for Monitoring Educational Quality, what we call SACMEC, boys consistently underperform compared to girls across subjects, grades, and regions, and in socioeconomic levels. In grade 3 literacy, there is a 20 percentage point gap between boys and girls at the emerging level. Boys have a lower health knowledge than girls across all surveyed contexts, and they are likely to drop out of school, repeat grades, and behind these numbers are lives of vulnerability. The Deputy Minister earlier was talking about how 50% of boys in sub-Saharan Africa have experienced some form of physical abuse, often at the hands of those who are meant to protect them. Now, these are not just statistics or numbers, there are signals of a fraying social fabric and a call to action for all of us. We must ask ourselves, why is the boy child being left behind? The reasons are layered and they are structural. Firstly, society continues to cling onto rigid notions of masculinity. From a young age, boys are taught, often unconsciously, to suppress their emotions, to man up, to avoid expressing fear or sadness or any emotion for that matter. This condition begins in our homes, it is reinforced by our schools, it is reinforced in media, and it is also reinforced in peer networks. And it becomes the script that boys internalize for the rest of their lives. Now, the consequences of this are profound. The emotional suppression turns into depression, it turns into anger or behavioral challenges. Many boys are unable to articulate their pain, and so they act out through violence or withdraw into silence. We also know that some boys engage in risky behavior of unsafe sex, substance abuse, and worst of all, violence. Violence that is often perpetuated and essentially performed on women in this country. And so that is why I'm saying to you that the consequences of this destructive behavior are profound, and they are layered in nature, and they can be incredibly destructive. So if we are going to start to undo and deal with the violence that we're dealing with in South Africa, we have to ask ourselves, are we raising responsible, respectful young boys who will grow up to be leaders and examples in society? Or are we perpetuating harmful notions of masculinity that come back and show us that those suppressed emotions are the very things that turn men in this country as people who prey on women? The lack of safe and non-judgmental spaces for boys to talk about their emotions and their experiences compounds the problem. Program Director, this crisis affects not only individual boys, it threatens the potential of our continent. Africa is home to the youngest population on earth, with over 60% of our population under the age of 25. And in South Africa alone, the youth comprise a significant proportion of our population. This potential is a demographic dividend, and it's enormous if we invest in it. But how will we ever realize it if the promise is, how will we realize this promise if half of our youth, the boys, are being left behind? A continent cannot rise if its sons and daughters are not growing together. A country cannot thrive if its classrooms are filled with disengaged, unsupported young men. And a community cannot flourish when its boys are burdened by silence, by shame, and societal neglect. And so education is our most powerful tool for social transformation, including transforming the boys' lives. Through the care and support for teaching and learning units within the Department of Basic Education, we are working to combat gender-based violence and create inclusive, nurturing school environments. This work has illuminated an urgent need. We must invest in support systems that address unique vulnerabilities of boys, just as we do for girls. This is not a competition. It's not about taking from one to replace to another. The empowerment of girls and the upliftment of boys must go hand in hand. It is not a zero-sum game. Our schools must be places where boys learn not just mathematics and science, but also emotional intelligence. They must learn empathy and the skills we need to build respectful relationships. We will be undertaking the following: intergenerational dialogues through events like today, which is why I'm incredibly grateful to our partners who are here, our civil society partners who are here, and also some of the people who are going to be participating in the panel discussion. It is in these conversations that are intergenerational, with people our young boys look up to who are aspirational, that we can start to challenge these norms that we are seeing in our society. We're going to be encouraging the inclusion of positive role models in school environments. We're going to be supporting research into boys' experiences and challenges to shape better targeted interventions. And we're going to be looking into a national framework to support boys' emotional, mental, physical, and social development. Colleagues, let me be quite clear. Addressing the needs of the boy child does not mean taking away the gains we have made in terms of advancing the girl child. Rather, it is about balancing the scale and ensuring that every child, regardless of gender, can thrive. And we want to see the successes we've seen in our interventions targeted at the girl child replicated in the boy child. I'm particularly pleased today, and I'm going to now embarrass him, but I am particularly pleased to share that with me today is Koketso Leburu, who is shadowing me for Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I see he even has a royal wave there. The future is bright, ladies and gentlemen. He's a bright, passionate young man who represents the dreams and the potentials of a boy child. Koketso symbolizes what is possible when we invest in our boys. The theme the DBE has decided on for today's events is the legends, the youngins, and the boys, which reminds us that we are all connected. The legends, our elders, have walked this path. The boys, our role models, are paving new ways. The boys, our future, are watching and are listening, and they are learning. Let us write a new story for the boy child. One of hope, one of dignity, one of growth. Let us provide him with the space to cry without shame, to dream without limit, and to rise without fear. To every boy here today, I say to you, and those who will hear this at home, you matter. The DBE is committed, the Department of Education is committed to ensuring that no child is left behind. And indeed, that means that no boy child will be left behind. Diabulel, thank you very much.
Let's give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The Ridge School from Westcliff Musical Band, City Amen. That's the song you've just heard. Right now, we're going to move swiftly along to our panel discussion. And I'd like to call on to stage the facilitator for this panel discussion, Dr. Remy Shower, who is the Senior Program Specialist at UNESCO Regional Office of Southern Africa. Joining the panel discussion will be Mr. Bo Nkailang, who is the National Chairperson of SANAC Main Sector. Joining him will be Titi Mba, also known as Tato, who is the Chairperson of Amatimer Brotherhood Circle. Mr. Lereko Mfuno, who is the project coordinator for Fathers Matter. Joining them will be Professor Malusi Langa, who is the author of Becoming Men. Also on the panel is Mr. Lunga Skuman, who is the lead for CSI at the Development Bank of Southern Africa. Alongside them will be Miss Jackie Hlongwane, who is the genre manager for education and children video entertainment for local productions at the SABC. Also joining the panel is Miss Joan Mueketsi, who is the program manager in AV for GIZ. Mr. Refilo Mohale is the general manager from the Youth Start Foundation, who will also join and sit right next to Junior Councillor Kamohelo Malekane, who is the junior mayor right here in this, in the city of Johannesburg. Let's give him a big round of applause as I hand over to you, Dr. Remy Shawa.
Did you know that today more boys are currently out of school than girls? Girls have more difficulty to access education and are out of school in particular at primary level, but then it becomes a boys' problem. In many countries, boys are at greater risk of repeating grades, failing to progress or complete their education. The costs of boys' disengagement from education are enormous, and yet there are few programs and policies addressing this. It seeks to answer important questions, like what influences boys' participation, progression and learning? What are countries and partners doing to address boys' disengagement? And what can we do today to realize boys' right to education to benefit their learning, employment opportunities, income and well-being, and to advance gender equality more broadly? The report offers a wide-ranging overview of how boys do in education globally, including evidence from over 140 countries, and explores the critical drivers like poverty, child labour and remote location. Gender norms can also impact motivation and desire to learn, with certain activities and subjects considered at odds with traditional expressions of masculinity. The report finds that boys' academic achievement is also impacted by harsh discipline, corporal punishment, and other forms of gender-based violence. Around the world, boys are more likely to experience physical bullying than girls and are often targeted because of their real or perceived sexual orientation and gender identity. There are things we can do today to address this critical global challenge, reducing the costs of schooling, addressing harmful gender norms and masculinities, banning corporal punishment, tackling gender-based violence, and providing flexible learning programs for boys who missed out on education are just some of the recommendations in the report that, if implemented, could transform millions of lives. Supporting boys in education is not a zero-sum game. It benefits girls, boys, and society as a whole when we leave no one behind. Read the report now.
I am a nurturer, like you.
Real men stand against gender-based violence.
I get hurt, like you.
If I am a victim of violence, I too will not be ashamed to report violence and abuse.
I hate it when someone violates me, like you.
In a violent situation, there is power in walking away. I will not take part in fights at school.
All I want is to feel safe, to feel loved, and to be free to show love. Like you.
I cry when I'm hurt, because to feel is to be human. I pledge to be more open about my emotions.
Make it part of the new normal for young boys to be nurtured and loved, to freely express themselves and to show love in a safe, inclusive way. We have different gender identities, but first, we are human. If you need assistance to help your child, contact Childline on 08000 55 555.
Nurturing good boys, raising better men.
ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, thank you very much. Program Director, may I please stand on your protocol that you gave so that we can save some time. I have a panel of 9 speakers. This is probably the largest panel I've ever been on to. And I know that in addition to being handsome, the reason I was asked to moderate is because I'm a good timekeeper. So I will not let you down. And may I ask the speakers as well, if you could keep it under 2 minutes, maximum, so that we have time to engage. There are young people, there are boys who are joining us online from Desmond Tutu in Cape Town, as well as those in the room. Let me then just go right in and ask Professor, on the video that we just heard, the first video, we're talking about data and statistics and some of the issues that adolescents, boys and young men are facing. And so, Professor, as the author of Becoming Men, I'm sure you have some literature and the evidence on what boys' masculinities and experiences are here in South Africa. Could you tell us a little bit more about what the literature says and some of the issues on boys' masculinities? And that is Professor Langa, the author of Becoming Men.
I'm on the side. I can see you're looking on the other side. Good morning, everyone. And obviously, because we don't have enough time, and I guess with what was shown on the video, and all the remarks that were made, including by the minister. Obviously, I'm a writer. I write about boys and men. And of course, what you see over the last 30 years, I can divide the period into 2 parts. To say what we have seen in the early 90s, towards the late 2000, there was a lot of literature written on boys and HIV and AIDS. And of course there, with a lot of focus on the refusal of, the refusal in terms of the use of condoms, and a lot written on boys and school-based violence. And I guess at that time, it was in reference to Yizo. And then you see a lot of literature on boys and poor academic performance. But of course, all of us as a country, we then realized that we have a big problem. And what we started seeing from 2000 till where we are right now, where the question arose to say, what about boys? Because when you look at all these social ills, we're at a point where we had enough data, to say at the heart of this is the issue of masculinities. So of course, then we begin to see a lot of literature on boys as vulnerable. So basically negating this view that boys are tough, boys are strong. We also see a lot of literature emerging around boys and healthy sexual relations. Of course, the major concern that I have as a writer and a research on this topic is that we often do not, and in fact, even when I look at many of the videos, and I can say even the remarks that were made, we touch in passing the issue about positive masculinities. The fact that there are so many boys that are non-violent. There are so many boys that are doing well at school. There are so many boys that treat girls and women with respect. And such voices often are not made very public. So obviously my concluding remark is that we are so preoccupied with the negativity and the negativity and the negativity. So I'll be quite interested next year when we come together to hear only positive stories of what it means to be a boy in Southern Africa. And I guess that will be my parting shot.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for the professor. I apologize for looking this side. I was looking at the photos on the bio, and there was only you without the glasses, so I thought it must be someone sitting this side. But thank you, Professor. Let me come to you, Mr. Bo, and I hope I'm looking at the right person, Bonkai Lang from the SANAC men's sector. And obviously, the professor has mentioned that, in the beginning, there was quite a lot of data around men and HIV, and we do know that the problem of HIV has not ended. But what are some of the opportunities that exist in the HIV response for the country in order to respond to the needs of young men and boys?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the question. My name is Byung Kailang. I'm the chair of the men's sector. Country should be appreciating. We were one of the first countries to develop a strategic plan on HIV, TB, and STI. And within the plan itself, there are pointers where we need to reach the goals of the NSP. And then the country, what it does is collaborating with private sector, is collaborating with SANAC, Civil Society Forum. As you know, part of the roles and responsibilities of SANAC CSF is to make sure that we influence policy making. We also coordinate on the programs that need to be implemented on the ground. But what we are doing also at the same time, we have campaigns that are primarily focusing on young people, and those campaigns is Ikhala Kanjani, which is the youth strategy. It's focusing on engaging young people on the issues of health, the issues of HIV, so that those young boys and men, they should be responsive. And the age target of these campaigns is from the age of 19 years. Those are now the young boys. And the young people is also from the age of 20 to 34 years, so that we must be taking that responsibility. Now we also have a responsibility as a country, because just recently we also launched the Better Men for Tomorrow campaign, and this campaign, it also addresses the family tree. Sometimes I'll be going to a facility as a father, and if I go to a facility, I'm going there alone. I don't encourage also my young boy to go with me to the facility to also undertake the health screening. So the Better Men for Tomorrow is not only for men, but it's also focusing on young people. But what also needs to be emphasized, as much as the country tries to move forward to make sure our young people are educated on the issues of HIV, there's no one that does not know there's HIV and how is a person infected with HIV. It's just for us to be very much responsive and be careful on each and everything that we are doing. But importantly, moderator, is that the issues of nutrition remains critical. Because sometimes we will be talking about availability of ARV treatment, but we neglect the issues of nutrition. So we must as well encourage that the availability of nutrition, so that when our young people takes upon their ARV treatment, they must have something to eat, so that they should also be able to take their treatment. Also to request as well the Minister for Basic Education that the nutrition program which are there in schools, it's very much important to young people, especially those ones who go to sleep in the evening without having any meal, but at the same time they must also take their treatment. So we don't want any treatment failures. We want everyone to adhere to their ARV treatment. So the availability of nutrition is going to balance that system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause, please. That is Mr. Byung Kailang from the national chairperson for the SANAC men's sector, reminding us on some of the health challenges and issues that young people, men actually face, including nutrition and the issue of access to treatment. Now let's turn to Mr. Lunga Schumann, who is from the DBSA, the lead on CSI. What are some of the youth empowerment initiatives of the DBSA, and why has the DBSA CSI decided to support this particular initiative we have?
Thank you very much, Chair, for allowing me. The DBS motion.
Thank you. The DBSA believes firmly on this notion of building Africa's prosperity. And we deliver on that notion or that mission through two pathways. One, through our mandate, which my GE was speaking to, particularly building schools, eradicating pit toilets, whether it's through the SAFE program or through our CSI initiatives, or whether we're building ECDs through our CSI work and other programs. But the other pathway is through partnerships. And so last year we began asking ourselves really the question of what can we do beyond our mandate to support the development of particularly of South Africa. And therefore last year we began supporting the International Day of the Girl Child, which was a huge success. And then we were challenged particularly by DG Mueli and Chuene, our GE, about the boys. And similarly on our way here, one of the boys from the DBSA was saying it's the first time that they were called to an event about boys. It's always about girls. And so if we are talking about a conducive and a prosperous society, it's important to also speak to the fact that it's not one gender alone that will deliver on that, but at the same time, all of us in this room, particularly, and outside, have a role to play in building that Africa's prosperity. Therefore, it is important for the DBSA to be involved in this particular program and see it through. Thanks.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for those remarks and telling us a little bit about the pathways for the DBSA and how this work is important to Africa's prosperity. And now let me turn to the Amataima Brotherhood Circle, and we have an organizer there who is Mr. Titimba, and that's you, right? And I would like for you to just tell us a little bit of how the Amataima Brotherhood Circle is intending to address some of the issues around lack of role model that boys and young men have, the missing role models in our country here. Could you just speak to that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. My name is Titimba. I'm the chairperson of the Amataima Brotherhood Circle. We look after the wellness of men and boys. And we've particularly created a TV show on SABC2, like Timer Like Ntwana, loosely translated like Father Like Son, which is a TV show that I co-host with my dad. And we get to have conversations with different fathers and their sons, uncles and their nephews. And it's not really dependent on the relationship biologically. So we bring in father figures who are obviously these boys look up to. And the whole idea of the show is to really unpack the relationship between the man and the boy child. The whole notion of showing love and vulnerability. I mean, I'm at the age of 46, and through this show, my dad told me he loves me for the first time ever. It is such things that we get to unpack and obviously make sure that the boy child is never left behind. We also run an Amatama suit drive, an annual drive where we collect suits for grade 12 underprivileged boys across different townships and villages, because we do understand the fact that a suit gives you confidence no matter where you come from. Ask any man from any walk of life what a suit does for them. So we give those suits to these boys so that they can have the confidence at a young age, and that very same suit will be the same suit that might graduate in or their first job interview. And the last thing that we focus on around men is teaching men around menstruation. This whole notion that it's a woman's issue is something that we're teaching men to talk to the boy child, because at the end of the day, the girl child becomes bullied at school because the boy child doesn't understand what happens to the girl child when they go through period pains. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Titimba, for sharing the amazing work that you are doing. And indeed, this is an important piece of work, in particular, ensuring that young men and older men, boys and older men, are vulnerable together. They're able to learn from one another. Let's move to Youth Start Foundation, and I have the General Manager, Mr. Refilwe Mohale. Please, could you just speak a little bit about the report that you're working on, that is on the status of boys, and some of the things that you're already learning from that report?
Thank you very much. Testing. Testing. Are you guys able to hear me? Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. I must say it is quite a privilege and an honor to be sitting in front of you guys today on this panel with colleagues and friends, people that work in the GBV sector space. And I must say, 3 years ago, is it 3 years? 3 years ago, when we actually went for our first activation, realizing that it was International Day of the Boy Child and no big commemoration has been run in South Africa, we didn't imagine that 3 years later it will actually be one of the biggest programs that are run in the country for boys. And I am actually very happy and glad that we get to acknowledge boys and the fight against gender-based violence. I sit here in front of you on behalf of the Youth Start Foundation and Prime Stars, my managing director sitting there in the crowd. We run a program titled What About the Boys? And really, what we sought to do was teach young boys about healthy masculinity and make them allies to girls, and for them to actually understand that they are part of the solution and not the problem. And through the promotion of positive masculinity, targeting high school boys right across the country, the program through edutainment and bringing together men and boys through dialogues and mentorship, we have been able to see some significant improvements. I'm not going to deal with the problems, as the minister has quite effectively also detailed some of the challenges that our boys face. And Prof. Malose actually said that whenever we come and talk about boys, we are looking at the bad news. But I'm very happy to say that through the program, we have seen improved emotional intelligence with our boys, because our boys don't know how to manage their emotions effectively. They react so easily, violently, be that may. Leadership capabilities have improved, and I'm very happy to see the young mayor sitting next to me. School engagement amongst our participants. We know that the dropout rates are extremely bad, but our boys have shown improved attendances and marks and engagement. The program's mentors have significantly fostered safe spaces for our boys to be able to talk about issues that they struggle with, because we know South Africa has been dubbed a fatherless nation. We've seen that boys actually yearn to talk to men, positive role models about issues that they are facing. Through our mentorship program, we've had good men come to talk to our boys about the challenges that they face. And this actually also assists us in advocating for more support for more psychosocial support within our high schools, because the things that have come out from our outcomes and our reports have shown that boys are struggling tremendously. And of course, we see an increased motivation and vision for their futures.
The minister did mention that boys are disinterested and disengaged. We want boys to know that they matter, that their futures are important, and for them to be able to have determination to achieve their goals. And of course, there's the topic of the LGBTQI community. Our boys don't understand, they are afraid. So we assist them in accepting the LGBTQI community, because one of the pillars of the program is actually accepting and connecting with others, despite them being different to you or having different beliefs.
Thank you. Round of applause. Thank you so much, Kefilwe, for just sharing some of the work that you're doing. And now let me come to the junior mayor, Mr. Malikane. So you've heard quite a lot, you know, and we're talking about boys and young men, and you yourself as a young man. Do these issues that are being raised here resonate with you? And what are some of other issues that we need to really hear about?
Okay. Am I audible? Thank you. Thank you. I'd just like to say that I'm incredibly honored to be at this event. It really is amazing to just hear the insights of so many people from different organizations and just our ability to contribute to something that is really for the greater good. I really do agree with the issues that we've all highlighted today, but I think more specifically what I can say about young men and young boys who are trying to find themselves in such a hectic world is that often we understand how we learn about masculinity as something that's solely burdened on positive role models that are men and our fathers. But as much as that is true, I don't think it's the only thing that contributes to a positive understanding of what masculinity is. For a lot of men, young boys who don't have those role models, they can still grow to become really great men in their communities, and often their understanding of what that is taught to them by very strong women as well. And one of those strong women is one of the deputy headmasters at our school, Ms. Fungeni. She really has done amazing work to make the boys feel comfortable at our school. And that's just an example of what it is we can achieve when we understand all the different things that contribute to positive masculinity. But I think an issue that we as young gentlemen often faced was understanding how to get in touch with these issues in our conversations as men. So beyond it just being a matter of speaking out and talking to the people that can help us, being able to talk to each other who face the same problems is something that we are trying to change and trying to improve. And one of those improvements has been in the sporting space. You have time in locker rooms where gentlemen will speak about how the game went for them, what they felt they could improve on, and often these sessions draw them closer to each other. And that's something you can witness when you go to a lot of schools, oftentimes all boys schools, and that's something that is really inspiring. So the issue of men being able to have this kind of dialogue amongst each other is something that will always be of importance when we come to understand what it means to be a good man, a good gentleman in the broader society. So there are strides being taken in that regard. Thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. And, you know, something that you said about, you know, you might not even have role models, but male role models, but you can learn from other, you know, good people, other women that are doing amazing work. And I remember as a young man myself growing up and making a very conscious decision, seeing the violence in the home, that I might not know who a good man is, but I know I don't want to be this kind of a man. And, you know, so that's a very interesting conversation. Let's move on to Ms. Joanne Moiketsi, who is from GIZ, and would like for you to talk about some of the work that you're doing with the DBE. How do you plan to incorporate the support for boys and male caregivers in that work?
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Program Director. As mentioned, my name is John Mwegetsi. I work for GIZ. I'm the Program Manager responsible for one of the program, which is Violence Prevention for Peaceful and Inclusive Communities. And thank you very much as well for the opportunity to come in here and share a little bit of the work that we do in supporting the Department of Basic Education and partners to promote violence prevention. GIZ, as the German Development Corporation, our work in South Africa is really carried out primarily on behalf of the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation. And one of our focus areas is really on working towards contribution to making South Africa safer by supporting measures on violence prevention with the focus on gender-based violence. GIZ is really committed to building an inclusive and equitable society by empowering government partners, civil society and communities through technical cooperation. And also, as mentioned, our key focus is on early prevention of violence, where the foundations for lifelong attitudes and behaviors are formed. So we really believe that is important for us to also include boys as well as men in their lives in our programming as well. Our collaboration with DBE, it's mainly working with, I think 3 of the programs in GIZ are contributing to this. Just for the sake of time, I would not mention them by name, but I'll just speak on some of the few things that we do. We strengthen caregiving environment for early prevention. And here, I think at the heart of this work, it's really to focus on both interventions, both for the home as well as the school, as well as early childhood development centers to reduce risk factors and building protective ones earlier in the child's life. We work with caregivers, educators, as well as communities to promote this nurturing and nonviolent parenting as well as positive discipline. And then also we look into this whole of society approach where we also recognize that all caregivers, whether it's a mother or a father, extended family member or educators, they play a crucial role in shaping children's societal emotional development as well as their resiliences. Yeah, and we also kind of aim to shift the broader social norms and practices that enables violence, and as well as to do so before harmful behavior take place. So we believe in preventing violence before it starts. That was our focus is on early prevention. We're also supporting DBE in its work on investing in early childhood development. Through one of our programs, we also support that area of work. We also, in one of our programs, support adolescents, boys and girls, or adolescent boys in challenging harmful norms. This is a program that we have partnered with Childline. It's called Ringamjita Initiative, where we create safe spaces for adolescent boys and young men in Gauteng to critically reflect on issues of gender norms, learn non-violent conflict resolution, as well as exploring healthy expressions of masculinity, and as well, more importantly, for them to become agents of change in their communities. And we also work together with Agape Youth Movement. We have partnered to capacitate learner leaders, which is both boys and girls in schools, to lead the school-based advocacy against gender-based violence. these learners are equipped to challenge harmful norms, promote peer support, as well as create safer communities. We also work lastly towards ensuring safe learning environments for all learners through a program which is the Wash in Schools program, which is one of the global collaborative efforts that supports the Department of Basic Education in institutionalizing hygiene and sanitation standards in schools. Whilst this program is framed around girls' education, we also believe that boys also, this program contributes to their dignity, well-being, as well as readiness to learn. And I mean, as part of the support, we've also supported DBE in creating guidelines and checklists to schools to implement and monitor those hygiene and sanitation standards in schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for sharing. I'd like to quickly move on to Mr. Mfono, who's the project coordinator, Fathers Matter, and dealing with Heartlines. And let's talk a little bit about male caregiving and parenting, and what is suitable for boy children through the Fathers Matter campaign. Could you tell us about what you're promoting through the Heartlines?
Thank you, Doctor. Good morning. I'd like to say hi and greetings to Minister, DDG, delegates and panel. Some of them are colleagues that we know and we've worked with. There's this English word that is called fat shaming. I'm about to share a story. Please don't fat shame me. When I was born, I was 4,93 kilograms. So for those who are not sure how kilograms work, an average sized baby is how many? 3, yeah? 2.5 to 3 kilograms. When I was born, I was 4,93 kilograms. I know this because my dad was there, and my mom used to say, you were that size because of your father. TT shared a story about the love of his father. My father was there when I was born. My father was there when I was in grade 1. My father was there when I had detention in grade 1, and he asked me, what were you thinking telling the teacher not to shout at you? That was in the 90s, teachers still used to use corporal punishment. I remember one day I said, no, not today. And my dad said, you have to comply with your school. My dad was there my first day in grade 8 high school when a matriculant drew a bicycle on the ground and said, I must ride it. Who remembers those stories? And I'm seeing the matriculant right here somewhere there in the corner. My dad was there. He came to school and he took care of it. But my dad was also there in grade 10 when he said, I can't come to school anymore. At some point, you are going to have to learn how to defend yourself. My dad was there when I got married and he told me how to love my wife. My dad was there when I saw him burying his father. And so I've seen my father grow as he was seeing me grow. And with the Fathers Matter project, we try to promote that. We promote the active, positive presence of men in the lives of children. Titi was talking about the love of a father. I wonder, the boys there at the back, how many of them have heard the words, I love you, from their fathers? Maybe can we do that to the gents there at the back? If you've ever heard the words, I love you, from your dad, can you just wave your hand? Wow. Wow. That's powerful. I'd like to link into the Fathers Matter project. This is a project that started in 2019, and it started with a question, and that question was, do fathers matter? In a country where close to 70% of children do not grow up with biological fathers in the home, what's happening? We have this legacy of the migrant labor system when fathers were taken away from their homes to come and build Johannesburg. We have a lot of families that were dismantled through that process, and the legacy of it today is that I'm so glad to see a lot of boys who have heard those words, but across the country, it's so difficult to find a demographic of boys who are in the majority who say, we've ever heard those words. What we did with the Fathers Matter project, we developed 6 films based on the research that we had accumulated over 2019. And these films sought to address the answer to Fathers Matter. We looked at the provision. Everywhere in the world, a father is seen solely as a provider, never seen as a caregiver, never seen as anyone who can supply anything more than finances. So we designed films, we took them into communities across the country. We said to some of the boys who we came into contact with, we said, a father is more than a provider. You can provide even at home. In a country with a high unemployment rate, we see a lot of fathers waking up in the morning, bathing their kids, taking them to school, fetching them from school, helping them with homework. It's a skills barrier that we found out. 2 years ago, we saw another barrier. A lot of ECD centers engage with the mothers, but they do not engage with the fathers because of how they were conscientized to be part of the conversation. So we developed the Fathers Matter ECD program, and what we do with the program, we sit down with ECD practitioners and we give them skills on how to engage dads in your ECD center. It's really, really as simple as WhatsApp group, make sure that you engage the father and the mother in a WhatsApp group. So we teach them, we have workshops with ECD practitioners, but the most exciting innovation that Fathers Matter has come up with is the Fathers Matter Coach. The Fathers Matter Coach is a WhatsApp platform that teaches, engages fathers daily and weekly in teaching them parenting skills. So I'll give you an example. You've got a Fathers Matter Coach on your phone. On a Monday morning, it gives you a ping. It says, hey, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. Remember today that it's your child's first day at school. Remember not only to support them, but remember they need to hear that you love them. They need to hear that you've got their back. They need to hear that you will walk the school journey with them. So it's tips, it's tools that every man can access in this country. We do not only believe in biological fathers, but we also believe in social fathers. Many of them are here on stage doing that work.
Thank you.
The Fathers Matter Coach. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause. And I believe the panelists will be here around after this conversation. Please reach out as well if you have any more interest and engagement that you need. Last but not least, definitely, I'd like to move on to Ms. Jackie Longwani from the SABC. Let's talk about digital media, because we will be doing ourselves a disservice in this digital age. Digital media plays a pivotal role in shaping attitudes, mindsets, and beliefs. How is the SABC, as a public broadcaster, positioned to support the cause towards gender equality and sensitization?
Thank you so much. I hope you all can hear me. Good morning, everyone. So as said, my name is Jackie Longwane. I'm the genre manager for SABC Education and Children. Thank you so much for the opportunity to really contribute to this really important conversation that we are having this morning. Representing the public broadcaster, in particular SABC Education, we at SABC Education, we are really clear on our mandate. We're not just there to entertain and to inform. We are really to educate and to shift minds and to really change behavior through the content that we broadcast on our different platforms. And so when it comes to gender equality, sensitization, our work is both deliberate and deeply rooted in our history, our context, and our commitment to transformation. And that's really where the SABC comes in, because we are a public broadcaster. We need to ensure that we are accessible on all our platforms. So in terms of digitization, I think everybody knows that we've, 2.5 years ago, we launched our SABC Plus app. It's the fastest growing app in the country. We have just over 1 million registered users on that app, which I think is an incredible milestone. And what that app does means that we can deposit content that stays on the app, that is accessible to everyone at any time, because gone are the days where you wait for just generations to start at 8. Yes, you can still watch it at 8, but you can watch it any other time, especially when we're talking to young people and young men. You know, we know that they're on their smartphones all the time and watching content, and sometimes we worry about the accessibility of content because we know that on social media there's also content that is quite harmful, especially to young men, and are not able to navigate and just watch stuff, and there's no platform really to talk about these issues. So as the SABC, we have created platforms for different age groups where men and young boys can talk about their own issues. I think that the key question that we all need to be asking ourselves, certainly we are asking ourselves at SABC Education, is what it means to be a man, a father and a son today in the 21st century. So Titimba spoke about like Tama Lantwana, that was televised on SABC2. And I think that that was really a groundbreaking series. We got to see men for the first time crying on a public platform, really releasing and expressing their emotions. And I think what was also great is that we involved Radio 2000, where we also had extension of the TV show where we could ventilate some of the issues that were in the show. There's other shows that I can speak to, but of course I have to speak about Fathers Matters, because that was also a broadcast on SABC2. So thanks for bringing that up. And I think what we're trying to do is to change the narrative of how men are portrayed, you know, beyond the violence and just the negative stuff. So I think other questions that I keep asking myself as somebody working in the space is, you know, why must toughness be the only marker of manhood? Why must boys prove their worth through suppression? And why is being a provider the only way men are validated? Those are questions that we all need to interrogate, and these are questions that help us to shape our content. And so I think in closing, we know that there is a lot of trauma. We've heard from our panelists that, you know, what is happening in our country is deeply rooted in our history of apartheid. So we cannot heal generational trauma if we don't acknowledge it, if we don't interrogate it and begin to rewrite the story together. Boys, just like girls, must be engaged. They are not just future men. We have to engage them now as boys because they've got issues now. This notion that, you know, it's about the future. Well, you can't get into the future until you deal with the now. So there are pressing issues that need to be engaged now so that boys feel supported and feel affirmed and feel loved. So as SABC Education and SABC in general, we will continue to talk about this issue, to offer these platforms, because I think we all have a dream that one day we can see men grow, or boys grow, into confident, respectful, responsible, and conscious men. And so through our stories, we need to make sure that we shift that narrative of what it means to be an African man in the 21st century, because when boys grow up whole, society becomes whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause. I did tell the organizers that the time is not enough, seeing, you know, the caliber of the panelists that we have. And I think what we did is just to start this conversation. Some of the themes that have been coming out, at least from my end, the need for us to change the narrative, to rewrite the story, to redefine what it means to be a man, what it means to be a young boy in Africa. And we heard that coming from Professor, from our colleague from the SABC, you know, from Titimba rather, for, you know, the need for us to really look at what are the positives that we can highlight. There are definitely a lot of men doing good work, so what does that mean and how do we broadcast that? The fact that men need to be more than just financial providers, and we had that from the Fathers Matter campaign, that men can do more, they can be more present emotionally, psychologically, and mentally in their families, whether as fathers or as caregivers or, as leaders in the community. We also heard on the need for men's own health, not just looking at men to end the vulnerabilities of women, but how do men take care of their own health as well. So definitely a lot. I would like to thank the panelists. Please do not go. We're moving on to something else, but remain seated, and then I'll hand over to the overall boss and oversee William to come and give us more of what happens next.
A big round of applause, ladies and gents. Thank you so much, Doctor. Very lovely discussion there with our panelists. Very intelligent and insightful. I'm hoping that you were paying attention and you were hearing every single pointers that our speakers had to share with you this morning, especially you as a young boy sitting in this room. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Ubabu Jabu Hlongwane, of the Joyous Celebration, Dr. Kumalo, who is a football legend, Dominic Zaka. Is it Zaka? Oh my gosh. It says Zach. I'm going to read it as Zach, who is the social media influencer. Mondli Makhoba, who is an actor. Samora Mangesi, a radio personality, also joins us here today. So too is Samuel Chauke, Mr. World South Africa. Reverend Tepiso Nkamanda of the PCA, as well as Anele Siswane, who is the resident TV clinical psychologist, and as well as Olane Mashiko, who is Mr. Mpumalanga. Let's give him a big round of applause. I want to tell you a quick story about Dr. Kumalo because he's sitting here and I don't think he will even remember this. So it's very important what you were saying, TT, that the father figures that our boys need are not necessarily biological, like your dad or your father, right? So in an area where I grew up in our neighbor, Dr. Steve Nale, was very good friends with Dr. Kumalo, and a gentleman named Trevor Timkul. If you're a Kaiser Chiefs fan, you'll remember who Trevor Timkul was. So those people used to come to my street visiting Dadenale. That's where our love for football came from, for my brothers and look at life, right? Now, years on Doctor, and give you a big round of applause as well. And other men like him who are reaching out to young boys in their communities, in their neighborhoods, and are not acknowledged. Right now, I'd like to call upon the MEC, Matume Chilwane, to greet as he has to leave and he has an emergency putting out fires everywhere. Let's give him a big round of applause. It can get louder. Let's keep it going, keep it going. Thank you.
Fire sounds wrong. You will say that our schools are on fire. No, Minister, Deputy Minister is not correct. It's our kids being quite energetic. All right, thank you so much. Sanbonani. Sanbonani. Molweni. Dumelang. Abshin. Dimacheruni. Good morning. I am not certain. Goeiemorgen. Yeah, I've seen you. Don't worry. Thank you once more, DM Minister, for this great initiative that is really, really needed for our boys. Many a times we tend to, statistically, the minister knows and the deputy minister knows that if you look at the outcomes, the throughput of matriculants, the boys are always less than the girls. And it's very skewed. So don't be despondent, boys, because the results tell a different picture. Mathematics, boys always do better than the girls, so you can clap for yourself, rather. And science, because we always look at those figures to determine in terms of the performance and output. But the worrisome is this number at the end, where we lose these boys somewhere along the academic years, the schooling years. It's quite worrisome. And lately we've been dealing with quite a number of challenges. I want to bring it to, I have a speech, but I think perhaps maybe I must not touch it for now. And just relate some of the issues that one gets confronted with. We've encountered quite a number of challenges in our schools around Gauteng. Namely, some of you have seen, we've been running a very aggressive campaign around learner safety, school safety, across our province. And as you observe at the top, most of the cases that we're dealing with in relation in particularly around bullying, it's boys. When you're dealing around gangsterism, it's boys. And when I say gangster, I don't necessarily mean in the Eldos they've got Favarast or Vivirasti something, these Italian, not Mexican names they use there to define their gangsters. I'm not speaking about those ones. When we define a gangster in a school, we define a gangster as a group of boys that club together and move and operate in a fashion that starts being disruptive. And boys, most of the time, relate and align with these gangsters in schools, not because they agree with them, but because they offer a sense of safety. It's a safe haven, because if I'm part of it, then they won't bully me. And this is what we've been experiencing and observing throughout. But I want to assure you, Minister, I'm intolerant to such. Because we have an objective to make sure that we support our learners across. We make them feel safe at school. So we are running an aggressive campaign, very direct campaign, around advocacy, around bullying. We even set up something called bullying boxes in some of our schools, where learners anonymously can write, including teachers, who's bullying them. But the purpose of it is not to take their child and victimize. We don't want to lose and leave anyone behind. We want these learners and these schools rather to give us these kids so that we work with them, we rehabilitate them, so before we bring them back into the system. So we pull them out, put them in certain programs to ensure that we teach them to understand that bullying is not right. Forming part of gangsters in schools is not right. Disrupting schools is not right. That's what we're doing, because we don't want to lose this children. Some children can be a bully today, but tomorrow's president. I always doubted Nelson Mandela because he was a boxer. I'm sure Nabeta school from Ubeta, but he went on to become a president because he was a big man. So most probably. You know. So we have to fetch these kids, work on them, and ensure that we create a space. And we work with different NGOs. I'm happy with the gentlemen and ladies that I see in front here. We will partner with them. We will talk to them afterwards and really, and the legend form a partnership to really assist in our schools so that we curb and control, so that we can then bring back our boys. The issues of GBV, it's a difficult one. And when I had a discussion at home with my wife, because we just observed it was an issue that I was dealing with during the course of the week. And she said something very profound, because we've got 3 boys. She said, see the problem that government misses and missed over the years with these boys is that we empowered and invested in the girl child to address the disparity, which is correct. We had to do it. But at the same time, we did not prepare this boy child to deal with this new girl child who's empowered, who's bold, who's the same level, who gets the same qualification, who will be potentially could be the breadwinner of the family. We left the boy child with the same mentality and not prepare them for this. And in response, our boys tend to struggle to balance this new situation that they find themselves in. So those are some of the areas which is a challenge for us, especially within the education sector. But how then do we bring, because we need to prepare, because the boys have a bigger role. You've got a bigger role to play to make sure, because the perpetrators of GBV, 98% of the time it's men. So this is where we need to invest and correct. And that was very profound for me when I was observing. So without really taking much time, the minister has spoken, we've got statistics. I want to say to the learners there at the back that they must never doubt their own responsibility as men. I've heard the speakers. I have no problem with speakers speaking very important, having very important discussion. I've heard Doc, there's a lot of mention of I love you here. There's a lot of I love yous that were coming from this panel, which is an important thing. Boys need to know that they are loved. You know, and that's a very important thing. But we must also give them that responsibility to protect. We must not shy away to give them that role. But you have a role to protect. Even those that are vulnerable, you have a patriotic duty to protect society and support society. Legends are here. Role models are here. We also failed our youth, Doc. Legends, we failed our youth. Most of the time, in our townships, all of us, once we got economically empowered, we left. And who was left behind? Who got left behind? Criminals. Wrong people most of the time. I'm not saying only them. There's still some of our parents are there. But those who they could relate to got left in the township are those that didn't do correct. I came from a school now. I was addressing the learners now. And when I was telling them about they wanted to disrupt, leave and go and march. There's a case that happened, incident where a UJ student stabbed a learner in Soweto. So they wanted to go and ban University of Johannesburg. But don't worry, they're in class. Minister, rest assured, they're in class, they're studying, everything is okay. It's okay. I had to go there and deal with it. But when I ask these learners a question, that if you don't study and leave school, look at those people who didn't finish school, who left school and just went. Where are they? The response was that they are doing very well. So I see you alone here. Now they are fine. And ask them how. So they are doing whatever they are doing, but if they are coming with whatever, but for us we think they are doing relatively well. But the truth of the matter is that most of the people who get 15,000 rand, they leave the township. And those are the role models that our children in the townships need to see, need to talk to. They need for them to guide them. So these are some of the challenges that I've been observing. So without really taking much time, I want to appreciate this program, Minister. I want to appreciate this really program to the legends, to the panelists here, program director. We've got a lot of work to do. This is a start. We need to go into our schools. We need to talk to our boys on a regular basis. We need to form partnerships, collaboration that will work to ensure that we save. I always say, if you look at Japan, and you look at the Japanese economy, it's not many companies. You have one company, for example, Toyota, as one big company. Toyota employs more than 2 or 3 million or 4 million Japanese. One company. Because at the helm, you just need that bright spark to come in and rise to that potential to assist economically. The economical beneficiation is so much from one company that you have people from Japan in different areas providing bolts and nuts, providing tires, providing to this global company. Everybody creates jobs. But you just have one Toyota. They have one Panasonic, they have one Sony, they've got one. They don't need many. China, they've got Huawei. One company. But if you look at the economic beneficiation, and this is the talent we want from our schools. We just want that one bright spark to turn around our economic fortunes and the fortunes of this country. And that's why we're investing and protecting. And we know that with these boys, we will get them eventually. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, MEC, for those encouraging words to our young boys here in the room and those watching us from the Desmond Tutu Foundation out in Cape Town. In fact, right now, I'd like to open up the dialogue that you as a young boy sitting in this room today are going to have with our panel members on stage. I'd like to start with the boys in Cape Town. And if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask your question to any one of our panelists. Technical team, if you could please assist. I think while we try to get the boys who are streaming from Cape Town, I'll come here in the room and ask if you have a question for our panelists. Please raise your hand and I'll have someone bring a microphone to you. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question to any one of our panelists sitting on the panel right now? Just raise your hand and we'll bring the microphone to you. I see a hand right there on that far table. To my right at the back, we've got a young boy there who would like to ask a question.
Hey, hello, sorry, just to add on to that last point, just to add on to that last point about how, as the youth, we could benefit from things like beneficiation. Are there any sort of routes that we could take to, maybe there are places, things in place for us as the youth to take charge and use beneficiation to our, I don't know the word, use things like beneficiation to our support in the future. Maybe we could take our own raw products and everything, build them here, ship them overseas, and possibly earn more than exporting from places like China, as I said before. So are there any things in place for us to use to our benefit in the future?
Let's give him a big round of applause. Mr. Lunga, I think that question is for you.
What? No, thank you very much, young man. I didn't catch the name, but I do want to be something that the DBSA has. We call them the D-Labs. They are based across the country, particularly in township settings and in other rural communities as well. And in that space, it's a space where young people like yourself or anyone can go in and get access to opportunities, whether it's an opportunity to go study, an opportunity to start your own business, or to explore additional skills, for example, in AI and robotics and many others. So the D-Labs are in many communities, and the DBSA team is here to maybe direct you to your nearest one. But again, that's a platform, a readily available platform, where young people can go and access and be able to access opportunities and meet other like-minded young people, both in the country and internationally, for them to access those global opportunities as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lunga. Do we have more questions? I imagine we do. There we go. Young man, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Professor Langa, like, for people who don't have access to these kind of events, what can we do to help them for people who don't have access to these kind of events?
This is another question for you, Mr. Lunga.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, I guess my answer will be very, very short, echoing what the minister has sort of like now said on how do we create like safe spaces, safe spaces where I guess like young people can come together and talk about issues that like affect them. And of course, I mean, even in the panel, I was quite like pleased, to hear what is like happening in the media. To depict, I guess, like positive, like voices of like fatherhood, positive, like voices of what it means to be like a male person. So obviously, even with young boys who are part of this like conversation today, it will be when we go back to our respective like we go back to our respective like communities. How then do we begin to share some of these like messages with our peers? And a lot of work, including the work that I've done in different like schools around peer support, and especially male to male peer support, like programs, where it would be a group of us, maybe from grade 7 or grade 8.
Schools across the country. But we also have an online platform that if your school is not formally in the program, you are able to access our movie with all the lessons, the booklets, and you can get connected to a mentor. And exactly as Prof. Lange said now, that after this, you are supposed to go back to your own school and have that peer-to-peer
So, to answer the young men again, one of the things that we're working on as the Amatama Brotherhood Circle is a men and boys boot camp. And that boot camp is really designed to create a platform for these men and boys to engage over a 2-day period, whether it's teaching the boy child how to change a tire, or whether it's teaching the boy child how to fend for himself out there. These are conversations that we want to have with the boy child and the men, because we all know that as men, we all had